Morning to everybody once again. Today we're going to look at SD 44.9, Chapter 9 of Sutta Discovery, Volume 44, Iccanangala Sutta. This is the name of a place, Iccanangala, where the Buddha, near where the Buddha stayed. The discourse at Iccanangala. If you can remember the name, it's a bit long. I'm looking at page 93, top right hand corner. That's where all the titles and introductory information are. First the title, second line the translation, and then on the same line you have a very important number. This is the unique sutta number. It's very important you remember this number. So next time you have any questions, you ask the teacher by saying S54.11. S is Samyutta Nikaya, connected sayings of the Buddha, connected teachings, chapter 54, Sutta 11, like that. Yes? So this is called the Sutta reference. Otherwise, you can say Iccanangala. But sometimes there are different names. Okay, but in this case, Iccanangala is quite well known. And then you have the theme. This is in case people ask you, what is this about? That's the theme, Buddha's noble dwelling. This is a very special term to tell us how the Buddha lived his daily life. So his daily life is a meditative, peaceful life. More specifically, this sutta is a very valuable document. In fact, I think it's the only one where the Buddha describes the 16 steps of the breath meditation as he himself does it, as the Buddha himself does it. There is another sutta, the key sutta to the breath meditation is called the Anapanasati Sutta. Anapanasati means the breathing in, breathing out sutta. Mindfulness of breathing in, breathing out sutta, or we call it very simply the sutta on breath meditation, which is in the Majjhima Nikaya. That one is for general teaching. But this one is very special because the Buddha describes how he meditates. So the difference is grammar. In the teaching sutta, the Buddha says, okay, this is what you should do. This is the next stage. So the person will say, I will breathe in, mindful, I will breathe out, mindful, will. Okay? Whereas the Buddha, in the Buddha's case, is I am breathing in mindfully, I am breathing out mindfully. So there's a slight difference in the grammar, but the practice is the same. Now, if you have not copied the diagram of the body, it's okay. It's on page 95. Everything is there, okay? So you can see the diagram more clearly, more completely there. I've written the keywords on the board so you can easily see it at a glance. These are the 16 steps of the breath meditation, leading right up to awakening, if you like. In fact, today when we did a very short breath meditation, or the one we usually do, even a long one, when we go for retreats, you cover only step 1 to 4. Okay. Now look at the headings. Step 1 to 4, the heading is contemplation of the body. Notice that? Section 5. Okay. That is Satipatthana. The 4 Satipatthanas. So this is found in another sutta called the Satipatthana Sutta, about the stages in our meditation. We begin with the body. Okay. So this is called body meditation. It's a big group of practices. The most famous of course is the breath. We start with the body. Why? Because we have a body, and this body comprises the 5 senses. And the 5 senses are very active and dynamic, always trying to pick information, and that's called distraction. We are distracted by this. Okay? Of course, in daily life we need this kind of awareness. But after a while it gets tiresome because we have to be working all the time in 5 ways. And then each of these senses, we react to them in different ways. Right? If they bring good memories, we like it. If they bring back bad memories, we don't like it. And sometimes we have no memory of them, then we ignore them. Now if we do this in this way, then the three roots of unwholesome action are reinforced. If you like something, then it's either because of greed or you will reinforce greed. And if you don't like something, it's something to do with hate. And if you ignore it, ignorance is reinforced. So there you are, the three roots are constantly being engaged. Okay? That is why when we say meditation, when you see something, just say, okay, this is a cup, but it's only the four elements. Right? So we see as it is. We neither like it nor dislike it, and we don't ignore it. That is wisdom. So wisdom means you look at something very simply as being impermanent. So and there are very wonderful benefits there. If this is your favorite cup, one day the cup breaks, you say, oh, it's impermanent. You don't get upset. We were young once, and then we look at the mirror, and we see life, we grow old. We also change. We don't worry about that. We say it's part of life. So meditation covers the whole of our life in that sense. Yeah. So we watch the body in four ways. Notice here, according to this. I'm giving you a quick summary, and then we go to the sutta. Experiencing long breath, that's stage one. Number two, experiencing short breath. Notice, in actual practice, we do two stages at one time, so to speak. Well, not actually one time. Here again, from language, there is no at one time here. Because you breathe in and you breathe out, in a sense, there's two things already. But we say the same process to be more meaningful. So, here the idea is you've got to watch it, the breath long, breath short, just be aware, in other words, there are two kinds of breath, long and short. Then number three, experiencing the whole breath. So here you see the breath like a sine curve. The breath comes in, and then there's a bit of pause, if you like, and it goes out. So rise, fall. In, pause, out, pause. That's the whole breath, okay? We watch the complete breath. And then, the word here is body. So you've got to be careful with this word body has two senses. One is, of course, our body. The other body in the figurative sense. A lot of us will say student body, student union, and so on. So here, the body refers to the kaya, refers to the span of the breath, okay? And then stage four, calming the breath. We let the breath become very peaceful. So roughly, when you do your meditation, the way I teach it in the long one, the four stages more or less cover this. The last one, you calm the breath. We call it the silent stage. After that, it becomes a bit difficult because this is something new to us. Now, contemplating of feelings. Notice this is entry into dhyana. Let me explain first, then I'll tell you what is dhyana. Now, dhyana in Pali is jhana. Let me write the word for you. Dhyana also is English. So stage 5 is arousing zest. Zest is a joyful interest. Okay? How does zest arise? Okay, this is where we understand the nature of dhyana or jhana. We start with the body because we want the body to settle down. We don't have to deal with all the five senses. That's very distracting. When you deal with the five senses, your mind goes outwards. Okay? Your mind goes out through the eye, because it's attracted to visual objects, light, forms. It goes to the ear because it's attracted to sounds, vibration. It goes through smell, taste, touch, and so on. Right? So when we let go of that, by sitting down quietly, don't bother about sound and so on, then slowly you find the mind retreats into itself. The mind begins to see the mind. The mind examines itself. Now, once the mind begins to examine itself, it doesn't have, like a holidays. It doesn't have to do all these five other things. It's very happy all by itself. it feels joyful. Zest means joyful interest. It means you can experience it in your daily life when you are fully engaged in the work that you are doing, whether it's something as simple as cooking, gardening, translating suttas, whatever you're doing. You're very engaged in it, playing music, for example. You feel so happy you can do it for hours. Okay? There is a negative aspect of this too. For example, people play computer games. They also get caught up. But that is something else. It's a more raw or wild version of it. That's very harming. That's on the physical level. Okay? But this is on the mental level. Okay? So it's called piti, right? Zest or joy, if you like. Now, don't worry about all these technical terms. And some people, they quarrel so much with technical terms, but they don't practice meditation. Usually they don't. They quarrel about these things. Some teachers will say zest. Some people say, I don't like the word zest. Some people say joy. Some people say bliss. Some people say, I don't like bliss. So, listen to the teacher when he's talking, and then remember how he defines it. Every teacher will define it differently. That's why you have Pali. So you go back and say, oh, this teacher means piti, all right, no problem, no need to quarrel. What does a teacher mean? Okay, so keep open-minded, because you go to the Buddha says, don't use your language to talk to the kampong people. You got to use the kampong language. Because the monks teach in the local language, local dialects. That is why Buddhism is a religion of translations. There's so many translations. The sutras are translated in the local languages wherever Buddhism goes. So don't quarrel about the words. Alright, so joy comes when the body has settled down. We are very peaceful. But this is an exuberant joy, very excitable if you like. Some Western translators even use the word rapture, but rapture may give some other connotations, not very helpful. Alright, then stage 6 is happiness. Okay, this is a subtle, gentler form of joy. It's joy, but gentler. The body and mind are kind of very subtle, happy. And then stage 7, experiencing mental formation. So you see earlier on when you see the breath, it's the body. The breath is the body. Remember? Stage 1 to 4, right? Now the breath is no more the body. The breath is the mind. And so it's very subtle. So when you're meditating, you don't feel your breath anymore. But you notice a sense of peace, subtle sense of the breath. The breath ceases to be the body. It's no more body, it becomes the mind. Okay? In other words, it's your attention. So that's the meaning of mental formation here. And then number 8, calming both zest and happiness. So, zest, as you know, is exuberant. Happiness, sukha, is gentler. There is something else not mentioned in terms of jhana, that is initial application, sustained application. Initial application vitaka, that is you direct your mind to the object, and then you keep it there. That is sustained application. Vichara, vitaka, vichara. Now, if you want to know all these words, it is found in volume 33, chapter 1. It's all there. Okay. So here, when we let go of the thinking, of the initial application and sustained application, then we come out of the first jhana. You reach the second jhana. In other words, no more thinking. Completely, the mind completely free of thinking. Then here, stage 8, and that means stage 5 can be said to be first jhana, very deep level of meditation. Stage 8, notice calming both zest and happiness. This time we let go of both zest and happiness. That means you reach second jhana. Okay? So they kind of, you can see there's an entry into jhana. So you can just make a note. On the line is step 5, you can say first jhana. And then step 8, second jhana, something like that. Then, okay, this is called contemplation of feelings. Okay? Feeling here meaning mostly mental feelings, like joy, and so on. Now then, we come to step 9. contemplation of the mind. This time the feelings are subtle, the body aspect subtle, the mind the thought process, if you like. Yeah? We use the word citta. Citta is not just thought. We normally translate as consciousness. So consciousness also includes feeling, if you like. There's some very subtle difference between the way the Western psychologists see consciousness and the way the early Buddhists see consciousness. It will be a very interesting field of study. One day somebody might publish some interesting paper and tell us how the different cultures look at consciousness, and they're probably very surprised how the Buddha knew all these things. Anyway, third stage is you watch the mind itself. In other words, the consciousness behind the experience of feeling. Right? Then, such time, you gladden the mind. In other words, here it shines. The funny thing is, in English, you say gladden the mind. It's an active process, In reality, in meditation, in a sense, it's a passive process. You let it happen. You let it happen. You cannot make it happen. Very important. Because if you make it happen, there's the will behind it. There is the thinking behind it, desire behind it, then you won't get it. So here, when the time is right, the object, the mind, the mental object, the mind, or either one, becomes bright. Okay, so that's the meaning here, stage 10. Gladdening the mind means brightening up, right? Shining the meditation sign. All these details are found in the other articles like Bhavana, Jhana, in volume 33 and so on. Okay? If you can't remember, just email us, we'll tell you where to read all those extra things. Then 11, concentrating, stilling the mind, calming the mind. Brackets, sustaining the sign. In other words, keeping it that way, holding it. And then 12, freeing the mind. Here meaning you let go of it, just let it be as it is. In fact, meditation is the real renunciation. Now we talk about becoming monks, becoming nuns. That is the ritual kind of renunciation. The purpose of ritual renunciation, becoming monks and nuns, is to meditate and renounce defilements. But you don't need to be monks and nuns to practice renunciation, because meditation is the ultimate renunciation. Number one, you renounce the body, you renounce your body, renounce all desires for anything to do with the body. Contemplation of feelings, the second petra, you renounce all your feelings, temporarily at least. Then stage 3, contemplation of the mind, you renounce the mind itself, all thoughts. Right? So that's the meaning of freeing the mind. Let go, that's the meaning. It's very easy to remember. Imagine an onion. Okay? You peel off the skin, layer by layer, slowly. Okay? Once all the layers of the skin have been peeled off, there's nothing left inside. Okay? Emptiness. That is awakening, if you like. Right? And then we come to the last stage. Last set of 4, contemplation of dharmas. It's a bit difficult to translate this word dharma. So I've used the English transliteration, dharmas. Dharmas can mean mental states, it can mean teaching, it can mean things, and so on. Here it refers to those things that arise in your mind in deep meditation. Now, if you're in jhana, nothing arises in your mind except joy. This is one of those debates, debates happen between people who meditate, who don't meditate, the meditators will tell you no thoughts occur during jhana, because it's impossible. If you're totally joyful, it's a feeling, how can thoughts arise in your mind? Now, you don't have to go into jhana to understand this. When you are really joyful, you strike your lottery, upward. It's very easy for Singaporeans to understand, strike lottery. You feel very joyful, right? Or you you get a raise or something, you feel so joyful. You get first prize, you win the Olympics, whatever, you feel very joyful. Now if you're very joyful, at the moment of joy, the newspaper person, TV person come to interview you, can you tell us how you feel? You notice these people, they're lost for words, At that time, they don't know what to say. They say, I don't know what to say, I'm just joyful. Very often they say, and that's very true. If they give you a long lecture, they're not really joyful, They're still thinking about it, alright? So if you're really joyful, you don't feel like saying anything. You are just happy. Now if that happens on a normal worldly level, you can imagine on a deeper meditation level. There are no thoughts in a joyful state of jhana. It's when you come out of it, then your mind is clearer, you use that calm mind. Now your mind is still very peaceful when you come out of meditation, it's like an in-between state like that. And that's the mind you use. After emerging from dhyana, then you contemplate impermanence. When you contemplate, when you reflect on impermanence after coming out from your meditation, is different from doing now. See? Because now there are a lot of other thoughts intervening. Whereas, imagine the computer. You have these invisible waves in the air, and then the computer, your computer is taking in all this data through the wires. And the data and the bits and bytes, little dots, So imagine how the dots are arranged. They're all mixed up, different pictures, different voices, different people, So when it goes to the computer makes sense of it again. So in daily life also like that. There's so many things our mind has to process, and then the mind will put into order all these things that come to your hear things, see things, smell things, taste things, and there are so many thoughts in your mind. But the normal mind will process this. A lot of processing, So in meditation, we cut down too much processing to the basics. So in stage 13, the mind that comes out of jhana, very peaceful, very clear, reflects on impermanence. You look at impermanence with really clear lenses. Can you imagine how clear it is? And then stage 14, you contemplate fading away. You see impermanence as it is, and then you see there's nothing to desire. You can't desire all these things. They don't last. You try and catch a shadow, they won't last. It's not there. Not to say don't last, it's not there, right? So you begin to understand, desire is useless, It doesn't really help, it's the delusion. So desire fades away. And when desire fades away, stage 15, suffering also disappears. Because suffering comes from desire, comes from lust, You want something, right? And you can't get it. Suffering. But here when you understand, impermanent, there goes the lust, there goes the suffering. Stage 3. It makes very good sense, right? So this is a very deep level of experience. And then finally, stage 16, you are able to let go of everything. All thoughts, the world, so you're totally free. So in a sense, this points to nirvana. You are free from the world, totally in that sense, right? So this is where the defilements are gone. On the highest level, no more rebirth, no more karma. That's called nirvana. You have awakening called bodhi, that's the state of mind of the person. And then you have nirvana, where it is a state where this awakened person is not reborn anymore. Okay? So those are the 16 steps, right? Generally speaking. Now we'll look at how the Buddha described his experience. Okay, next page. The discourse at Ichanangala, S54.11. At one time, the Blessed One was staying in the Ichanangala jungle. Outside Ichanangala, then the Blessed One addressed the monks thus: Bhikshus, I would like to spend 3 months in solitary retreat. No one is to approach me except the one who brings the alms food. Notice, even the Buddha goes into solitary retreat. And we have an idea here on the rules. The Buddha will stay alone in the forest. People know where he's staying, but nobody is to approach him. except the one who brings food. Even the one who brings food doesn't talk to the Buddha. There'll be an assigned place, normally under a tree, and the Buddha may be nearby, or the Buddha is in the kuti, or maybe just outside the kuti if there is a kuti there. They leave the bowl of food there, and then take away the previous bowl, or something like that, the different kinds of arrangement. And then the food bringer goes away. And then the monks agree, and then the Buddha goes into practice. Section 3 says, then at the end of the 3 months, the Blessed One, having emerged from solitary retreat, addressed the monks. So there you are. From this, you have an idea. This sutta covers a period of 3 months. Okay, but we are aware of all that. This is the meaning of reading the sutta as literature. Okay, so you know it's not just one sitting. This sutta tells the story of 3 months. The Buddha goes into solitary retreat, he comes back, then he tells the monk about the solitary retreat. And the teaching starts from there. That is very interesting. So let's see what does the Buddha say about this, section 3. So he tells the monks, he says, Bhikshus, if wanderers of other sects were to question you thus, how awuso? Awuso means something like friend. In Chinese translation, there's something like lao pengyo or lao, it means someone with age. Okay. How awuso does the recluse Gautama mostly spend the rains retreat? Right? The 3 months of the rains retreat, so the Buddha spent in solitary retreat. When you're asked thus, bhikshus, you should reply to those wanderers of other sects thus: the Blessed One mostly spends the rains retreat in the samadhi of the mindfulness of the in and out breathing. Okay? So there's nothing grand and big about this. The samadhi of in and out breathing. But once you go into Mahayana, you find there are long names of samadhi, and you don't know what it's about. And the reality is there's no such samadhi. It's just a philosophical term to sound grand. But the grandest I can think of is this, the Buddha goes into the samadhi of mindfulness of in and out breathing. And look at the Pali words, note 22. Anapana sati samadhi. That's all, anapana sati samadhi. Alright? So here you can see samadhi as referring generally to meditation, if you like. Right? So notice sati is there, samadhi also there. Anapana means in breath, out breath. Sati is mindfulness, and then samadhi, concentration. So samadhi can mean broadly to refer to meditation. Even in Thailand today, they will say nam samadhi, to sit in meditation. Yeah? Alright, so then the Buddha explains what's meant by this, the samadhi of the mindfulness of the in and out breathing. This is the full name, okay? If you simplify, you can say the samadhi of breath meditation. Also can. Then the Buddha starts with the 16 steps. Section 4. Here, bhikshus, I mindfully breathe in, mindfully breathe out. Right? This summarizes the whole of the meditation. And then comes the first set. Contemplation of the body. Breathing in long, I know I breathe in long. Or breathing out long, I know I breathe out long. Or breathing in short, I know I breathe out short. Or breathing out short, I know I breathe out short. Right? Now the way it is described in words actually seem longer. In actual meditation, we don't use so many words. Look at the Pali. If you look at the word, I breathe in long, second sentence. Digang asasamiti. Digang asasamiti. Or you can even shorten it, just say long. So you know it's in, you say long. You know it's out, you say long. Right? You don't need to say long in. short, you know it is long, it's in, mentally. Right? We say subverbal, means a mental note. So here, in other words, the idea is to be aware of the breath, long, short, right? Don't just take it as one lump, then you feel sleepy after that, it will become unclear. Number 3, experiencing the whole breath, the whole body of breath. I know I breathe in. Experiencing the whole body of breath. I know I breathe out. Okay, well, a bit of problem here. The meaning of the word body. Even some famous monks today, who write books, some of them say, body actually refers to the whole body. When you meditate, you are aware of the whole body. Now that's quite difficult, especially for people who not for everybody. It is not easy to experience the whole body, right? So if only a teacher says only I can experience the whole body, it's not very useful. It is to attract charisma. So it's hard to interpret the word body meaning the whole body. But if you say the whole body meaning the whole body of breath, then you notice the whole breath. But it's a mental experience. So imagine you're watching this banner, you start spreading all over your body, you get distracted at that stage when you are going deeper into your meditation. If you are distracted, then you watch your body, that's different because you are bringing your consciousness back in, see? But here you are focusing your mind and then you bring the consciousness out and you're going to get distracted. It's quite simple logic as that. So the teaching here, and also this is what traditionally most teachers would accept, you watch the breath as a whole in, and then there's a pause, out, there's a pause. In experience, you'll notice that. The whole body of the 3 phases of the breath, if you like. And then for calming the bodily formation of breathing, I know I breathe in. Calming the bodily formation of breath, I know I breathe out. So you watch the breath coming in, and then you can feel it is slowing down. You feel it's more peaceful. So this is the meaning here. The breathing begins to slow down. Right? That is why it's very important to relax with your breath when you're meditating. Some people you can hear, very loud breathing, right? So to still, we call it labored breathing. Right? So the teacher will come along and tell them to be more relaxed with their breath. Okay, so that's the contemplation of the body, first tetrad, the first set. Then contemplation of feeling, experiencing zest of joy. I know I breathe in. Experiencing zest, I know I breathe out. Right? So breathe in, out. Here he watches the breath in, breath out, the joy arises. Experiencing happiness, I know I breathe in. Experiencing happiness, I know I breathe out. So in, out, there's a sense of deep peace of body and mind. 7. Experiencing mental formation, I know I breathe in. Experiencing mental formation, I know I breathe out. Right, so here you see the breath as rising, falling. Right? Then number 8, it is totally calm, more peaceful. It's almost like the breath is slowing down and you don't notice it anymore. Then only the mind remains, so to speak. The third tetrad. Contemplation of the mind. Section, the big number is 7. Then the brackets is 9. Experiencing the mind, I know I breathe in. Experiencing the mind, I know I breathe out. So this time, in other words, the breath is no more physical. It is this knowledge, very subtle breathing, very subtle. Then, gladdening the mind, I know I breathe in. Gladdening the mind, I breathe out. I know I breathe out. Okay? So, the mind begins to brighten up. 11. Concentrating or stilling the mind, I know I breathe in. Concentrating the mind, I know I breathe out. So the mind becomes more focused, kind of deepening experience. And then 12, freeing the mind, I know I breathe in, freeing the mind, I know I breathe out. So the mind broadens, feel more free, so to speak. A bit more inner spaciousness. Then at this stage the breathing is very subtle. So although you see the word that breathing without, it's not the normal, like now you breathe without. You might not notice it as a physical experience. It's a very subtle mental experience. And then the fourth tetrad, contemplation of dharmas. 13, contemplating on impermanence. I know I breathe in. Contemplating on impermanence, I know I breathe out. Right? So here, if the meditator has come out of the jhana, as he breathes in and out, he notices the impermanence in the breath itself. Contemplating on fading away, I know I breathe in. Contemplating on fading away, I know I breathe out. So here, subtle in, subtle out. Then you notice last disappearing. And then 15, contemplating on cessation of suffering. I know I breathe in. Contemplating on cessation. I know I breathe out. This is a very deep, small of the awakening mind. So we can only imagine what it's like. And then 16, contemplating on letting go of all the defilements. I know I breathe in. Contemplating on letting go, I know I breathe out. So the Buddha finally says, this is what I do, this I practice it. Section 9, if one speaking rightly, bhikshus were to speak of the noble way, Arya Vihara, or the perfect abode, Brahma Vihara, or the Tathagata's abode, Tathagata Vihara. Right? You will be talking about this, what I've just described to you. The concentration of the mindfulness of the in and out breathing, anapanasati samadhi. You notice in Pali it's shorter, right? Anapanasati samadhi. Okay. So for last two lines, section 10, last two lines, for them the concentration of the mindfulness of the in and out breathing, when cultivated, often developed, brings about the destruction of the influxes. In other words, brings awakening, brings arahathood. So the learners, in other words, the saints and the practices, they awaken. So here, the Buddha said this is his favorite meditation, so to speak. And he's saying this also is the meditation of the saints. That's why he used the word Arya Vihara. Aryas are the saints, the noble ones, from the streamliners to the arahats. Okay? Streamliners, once-returners, non-returners, arahats. So they enjoy breath meditation. So they are called, this is when they are into the kind of meditation, into the kind of state is called Arya Vihara. Then it's also called Brahma Vihara. Now normally we know Brahma Vihara means the four Brahma Viharas, right? Loving kindness, compassion, joy and equanimity. But here Brahma Vihara means breath meditation. It's very tricky. That's why I say there are no technical terms in early Buddhism, right? You've got to see the context. Here it's called the perfect dwelling. Perfect in a sense is so joyful, it brings awakening, right? So you've got to have the context. And then it's called the Tathagata Vihara because the Buddha himself does it. Tathagata. In Chinese it's Mulai. Okay? Tathagata. Alright, and then the sutta closes with the Buddha declaring the state of the Arahat. Okay, it is the Arahat's practice. 11. And bhikshus, those who are Arahats, whose influxes have been destroyed, the holy life lived, done what is to be done, the burden laid down, reached their own goal, fully destroyed the fetters of existence, of right knowledge, liberated. For them, the concentration of the mindfulness of the in and out breathing, when cultivated, often developed, brings about comfortable dwelling here and now, and also mindfulness and full awareness. Right? So, in other words, this is how the arahats rest. They go into deep meditation. That's why they need less sleep. The Buddha sleeps between 2 to 4 hours in a night. Right? However, the Buddha still has a physical body. So if the weather is really hot, certain times of the year, I think around, it's coming, the next month, July, August, the Buddha rests in the afternoon. So someone was trying to insult the Buddha and say, oh, you monks are lazy, you rest in the afternoon. The Buddha says, so if you're tired, what's wrong with resting? So because the weather is very warm, you go to India today, you find sometimes the weather is so hot out there, no one will walk out there. But you have to go to the shed, right? So certain months the Buddha would rest, even in the afternoon. But not for long, just a couple of hours. Right, so finally the sutta closes. If one speaking rightly bhikshus were to speak of the noble abode, of the perfect abode, or the Tathagata's abode, one would be speaking of this anapanasati samadhi, the concentration of the mindfulness of the in and out breathing. That is as the noble abode, the perfect abode, or the Tathagata's abode. Right? So this shows that the key position of breath meditation in Buddhism. Right? And now you find breath meditation is spreading throughout the world. It's the most popular meditation today. The basis of all other meditation, the father or the mother of all meditations in the life. So this is one of the key suttas. So the first sutta, the key sutta here is called the Anapanasati Sutta. Right? So this is the second one. There are many Anapanasati Suttas, by the way. Anyone remember the Anapanasati Sutta number? Just I can't remember. I didn't note it here.
Yes. Page 96.
Oh, 96.
Also
Yes. M118. Page 95. You see 3.1. The title is given there, the Anapanasati Sutta, M118. And then if you want to read up the translation, you go to SD 7.13.
17.
Any questions? We have a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yes?
Just curious. Does the Buddha do it by sequence, all the steps? Or
My guess is that, the Buddha will do by sequence, but to him it's very fast because it goes in deep focus, Probably it goes at zoom and then 4 steps already, something like that, Right? Of course, there are occasions when meditators would go straight into certain parts that they like, so I wouldn't say that it's always done in a sequence like this. But in terms of people who are going for retreats, they would normally, especially if they're beginners, they're trainees, they would do the whole sequence. That's the best way to really experience the full benefit of it. It's just like you go for a beginner's retreat, you try out a few minutes, and then you do a bit here, a bit there. That's not to discourage the beginners, because they feel they have to do everything every time. Wow, that's difficult for them. So I always say you do the part that you like first, and then slowly you build it up. And over time, after a few years of practice, you find you got more time. Then you practice all the stages. Especially loving kindness, you got like 8 stages. It's very long. So people complain, wow, it's so long. I don't know how to do it. Then I said, don't worry, just do the part that you like. You start there, see, and then you build up over time. This is one thing. Meditation, as you grow older, you got more time, and then you're more familiar with the steps, and so that's when you start doing everything. Alright? So just take your time. Don't rush it. Meditation is not something you achieve. It is something you become. Okay? Any other question?
Yeah. The contemplation of dharmas.
Yeah.
Is it done in jhana or?
I would say, this is part of the jhana. You get into this state. jhana, very peaceful, then you come out of it.
After.
You come out of it, yeah. Because during jhana itself, you can't do any of these things, right? Imagine, you're so happy, and then you notice you see that. Remember the what's called the Atula incident I was talking about in the last talk on YouTube last week, right? Atula incident. Right? The Buddha was meditating in the threshing house, a big hall where they thresh paddy. It was not paddy season, so the hall is empty. He was meditating there. He got to jhana. He's aware of all the peacefulness inside him. So there is mindfulness awareness all inside. There was this big thunderstorm. A couple of farmers were killed, a few cattle were killed. Very big thunderstorm. And in Singapore you can hear very loud. When the Buddha came out of meditation, there were a lot of people outside, and he asked them, what's going on? So the Buddha said, there was this big thunderstorm. And don't you know, the Buddha said, I didn't hear a thing. So there you are, see? He didn't hear a thing, right? That means there is no cognitive process. Of course, there is a possibility, some teacher will say, but in his mind he can notice all those things. But as far as we understand, it is said that, there are stories in Dhammapada commentary, for example, Pajaka Buddhas get into deep meditation, and then people mistake him to be dead, and they put all the wood and straw and burn him, and nothing happened, I mean, if he's aware, he would have come out and said, hey, stop, But no such thing. So, my understanding is that you cannot process all these things while in jhana. So you come out of the jhana. When we say come out, the mind is still very focused, It's not even like now, it's still very focused. How should I put it? It's like you have gone through this warming up exercise and doing all this sequence of exercises, and then you do your something important in the Olympics, right? So it's like that. So it comes out this very wonderful jhana-based mind. It's almost like half in, half out, you like. And then he reflects, okay, impermanent, right? Can you imagine? He has only one thought, impermanent. Like now, if I say impermanent, I also think about other things. I think about my cat, I think about going home, I think about what to do next, So many other thoughts coming in. But here, jhanic mind, very focused, impermanent, that's all, one thing. So it sees everything very clear. So we are talking about a different level of experience. That is why it's quite tricky, especially talking about with non-meditators. So this is my best understanding. Okay. Maybe one day, and also all those jhana masters, those forest teachers, they all say this. So I follow what they say. I don't think they're wrong. Maybe one day, if I notice something different, of course I will. If I'm sure it is different, I will say so. But there's no reason to say it differently. There are teachers who say you can think during jhana. So we start smiling and say these people are not really meditating, right? I mean, if you have thoughts in jhana, it's hard to imagine, right? How can you think in jhana? Then you're not focused, okay? Once thought gets in, that means the senses are operating already. So these are very subtle situations got to be aware of. Even in beginners, who are very good, you go into deep meditation, you find after a while they will tell you, oh, my mind is very, very still, there are no thoughts at all. You notice there are no thoughts at all. So you extend that kind of experience into deeper meditation. And you begin to understand what those forest teachers are talking about. Okay? We'll end here for today. But yeah, alright, so let's do a short reflection to end this study. The purpose of studying the suttas is to better understand our practice, especially meditation, like today's sutta. And when we combine the two, theory of the sutta and the practice of meditation, we get a more complete, more wholesome understanding of the Buddha's teaching. And in that sense, we will truly see the Buddha in due time, meaning we will see our own true nature of impermanence. And from there, awakening and wisdom and freedom and nirvana will arise. So we build this up gradually, and at the same time, with this kind of understanding, we should know our direction. That is why, with this kind of reflection, we say, okay, we have done something good here, this wonderful good karma, this is powerful energy, spiritual energy. By the power of this good we have done, may we be blessed with the wisdom and courage to aspire to attain at least stream winning in this life, that is, to take the first step on the path of awakening, to follow the stream to nirvana. By the same token, by the power of the three jewels and all the good things we have done, let us send out our loving kindness, first to ourselves and to our loved ones. May they all be well and happy wherever they are. To all the people here who have worked very hard to spread Buddhism, and also to those who are seeking the truth, who are having difficulty finding the truth, may they find the true teaching in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.